Trying to think of an example here. Like, I at no point did I think, I see what she's doing. She's trying to do this.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Done. That's a wrap.
Hey, we done with Lana Del Rey already?
Yeah, I think
that was the one point I wanted to make.
Okay.
Go on, Sam. Do you want to retaliate?
I don't know, man.
You're wrong.
No, like I get what Sam said. Sam's probably right. I don't know. I've never thought about it like that.
That was the first thing we said.
I don't know whether debating Lana Del Rey is going to help my ratings.
Yeah,
because I feel like this interview's over. This is Backstage now.
It was all Backstage.
Oh,
the podcast called Backstage Noise.
This is off the books. This is under
this
the
is
record.
The books. I'm literally recording it.
Basically,
it's all going on there.
All you need to know is her new album is fucking great, and tell anyone who disagrees to shut up.
I'm here with two members of the Elusive Deadweight, Sam Gale and Sam Hames.
I'm Sam Gale, play guitar in Deadweight. Don't know what you want.
What you after? My name's Sam Hames. I'm the vocalist of Deadweight. We're both original members. That's it, man.
How many times has the lineup of Deadweight changed now?
Oh man.
We've only changed guitarists once. But we've just had like 5 drummers.
We go through drummers like anything, don't we? Drummers are a different breed. Don't like to stick around for too long.
Yeah.
We've had...
First one wasn't even a drummer. First drummer wasn't a drummer.
I believe he was, contrary to everything he said, ever. How many have we had? We've had Charlie, Ed, Wolfie.
I never know if Charlie counts.
Well, he announced that he was leaving the band, so I think he counts.
True.
And James.
I feel like there's more than that. That is 4.
Yeah.
So that's quite a lot. 4.
More than necessary, yeah.
You
if you think about how many singers that Deadweight's had.
Yeah.
How many singers does Deadweight have?
1.
Oh. We've had a, you probably can't say bassists, but like Tom's always, obviously Tom's always been the bassist, but there's probably been at least like 4 fill-ins.
But he's never been of any fixed abode.
No.
No fixed address.
Travelling man.
A social butterfly.
Free food.
Free food? Let's talk about free food. I started a new job 2 weeks ago and I've had more free meals than I've had days off so far, so I'm doing pretty well. They've all been on the corporate account.
Are you allowed to brag about that?
Yeah.
Too late if he hasn't.
Yeah. I'll have to get clearance.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about our surroundings. Why is there so much awesome stuff everywhere?
Oh, okay, so earlier this year my godmother died, and 2 months later I found out that she had left me her house, its contents and her car in her will. I wasn't expecting it at all. She didn't tell anyone that it was going to happen. She was an only child. She never married, never had kids. Both her parents were only children, so she literally had no family member to leave it to, so I was kind of next in line, I guess. Completely humbled by the whole thing. I mean, it's worth a lot of money and people don't throw that about kind of willy-nilly. I had to wait 7 months for the property to get signed into my name, and I literally got it, like a week ago. So I'm kind of slowly but surely moving all the cat trinkets out and moving all my stuff in.
How many cat trinkets were there?
Oh, don't. There were so many. She was definitely a cat lady. Oh, Pam. I mean, there's still some about. Still some meerkat photos and whatnot.
Memorabilia.
Yeah. I mean, my mum wanted most of them, so I've kind of shipped most of them over to her. We've still got the wacky one there.
Yeah,
the Cheshire cat.
Do you want to get a little ping?
Godoyoyoy.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't do that very
Such an awesome noise.
That is a lovely noise.
But yeah, we started decorating like about 2 months ago, and there's still loads to do. Like I came in here today and I was like, I've got loads to do, and everywhere I look is something I could be doing. But I just don't know where to start, and then inevitably you want to nap, and did what any good man would do: take a bath, have a sleep, and start the next day. No, I mean, I worked 55 hours this week, so inevitably you're going to be tired and nothing's going to happen. And, you just want to hang out with your friends and shoot videos and make podcasts and whatnot. So
that is a good way to start the evening.
I mean, it's Sunday today, and I got up at 9:30, and I've been to the tip already, and I bought some bits that I needed to buy. So I'm keeping pretty productive, like little and often. That's definitely the best way to go about it.
Nice. So, what's happening with Deadweight at the moment? How's that coming along with all the work and stuff, the workload? I just set up Sam in the camera.
Oh, sorry, man. I can speak. I'm pretty good at just babbling on.
No, you have to just film Sam for
Yeah, no worries.
Great.
Hey, this is you, by the way. This is your thing. Okay.
What's going on with Deadweight at the moment? We have a show in 2 weeks on a Saturday the 14th in Leicester. Pretty cool. Don't know who we're playing with. No, we know one of them.
Yeah.
Some guys from Newcastle or Middlesbrough or something. Called Choked Out. Pretty funny name.
Yeah.
We're
just talking about names.
Yeah. What else have they done? What else are we doing even? We've got an EP recorded, and just kind of sitting
on that.
for some reason.
That's a good reason. I know what that reason is. Suspense. See that? I'm even being suspenseful now.
Yeah, we've got that ready to come out. Just kind of waiting for, I don't know, artwork to fall into our laps, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know what the deal is. We should just put it out probably, but who knows? Hopefully it'll be out by the time podcast is out.
Well, I don't know about
listen to it.
We're getting good at this.
Thanks, man. I listen to a lot. I know what people need to hear, or want to hear, or don't want to hear. What else are we doing? I don't know, we should probably get more promos done at some point. We were going to do a video, maybe even in this house, but that kind of didn't materialise because I don't think everyone agreed that it would be a good idea.
People are busy. How do you
Someone didn't want to do it, I think. I can't remember.
How do you have like a day for Deadweight? Do you have a Deadweight day? Do you have a day for band?
October 14th every year.
Yeah.
No.
Meet underneath the oak tree at a full moon. Weather depending.
When the stars align.
No.
No, it's kind of really hard to get everyone in the same room at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've just got someone back from Derby, and now someone else has gone off to Cardiff
yeah.
because of uni.
How are you doing all this travelling?
We're not.
Yeah, not really. I mean, Aidan's just gone to Cardiff, and I mean, I've seen him once since he's been there, so I couldn't really expect him just to come back from practices and whatnot. I mean, that would be unfair, especially seeing as he's a student and you know the kind of tight budgets that these guys have to deal with. Obviously, Tom's in his other bands, which are huge, so understandably he's busy as shit.
What's his other band?
His other band's called Counting Days.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, how do you describe them? They're a metal band, essentially.
Metalcore band.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Could you ever tour with them? Bit difficult.
Who knows?
Tom might get tired.
Two different types of bands, I guess.
Tom could do double duty.
Yeah?
Double G.
I think he's done double duty before.
Has he ever played one of those double bass guitars? Not a double bass, but like...
We played with Heights once upon a time, didn't we? So
We did, and he did double duty then.
Yeah.
For the horn.
When was that?
Ago.
Couple of years.
I think I found the fly for that. I want to say 2012, but I might be wrong. Pardon me.
Like finding flyers, that's a good thing.
I used to post
Topical.
them all. I used to post
So
them all
topical.
on the Facebook, but I've kind of not done that for a while. We haven't really had that many shows to post about, I guess.
we should probably post that Lana Del Rey flyer sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah, do you want to talk about Lana Del Rey?
More than anything,
Should we leave that till after all the
let's do it,
business
man.
is done?
We haven't got really any business to talk about, so let's just do it.
There was some other questions, but
Okay.
you know, if you
No, go ahead.
you
Ask
know,
away.
I've just got some questions in terms of deadweight, and then we can move on to the bigger picture, the more important stuff.
No, it's alright.
She might be a bit topical. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
How have you organised? You know, you started sort of saying it's difficult to get people in a room. Any sort of advice on how to get people to do that, other than just make sure you're playing good music, because that's probably a good start.
The internet's pretty good.
Yeah.
Group WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Probably.
Make a group WhatsApp. Don't let them know it's about the band. Make them believe it's about an in-joke.
Yeah.
And then slip in information about the band.
Yeah.
We have a WhatsApp group.
Started just me and you, wasn't it?
It started just me and Sam, where we've got this kind of in-joke
Technically
about...
not a group.
we were the Euroglasses Club.
Yeah.
The-
The
Um,
Euroglasses Appreciation Society.
Okay, so picture this, it's 2001. Really cool guy walks down the street. He looks like he's straight out of the Matrix. What glasses is he wearing? Was that good English? What glasses is he wearing?
Glasses, is it? Yeah, no.
Yeah, because it's not.
It was a
horror or-
question.
What glasses are he wearing? Every of the time.
He is wearing
forgot.
which type of glasses? That would be a sax
What's
question.
the brand?
Oakley.
Oakley. I can think of it.
Okay, so these glasses are still on sale and people still buy them, and I don't know, it's funny. It just makes you think of Triple X, the film with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I know the ones.
Vin Dan Diesel.
Yeah.
Van Den Diesel.
Mr. Bovine Journey.
Bovine.
Yeah, and it started with just us posting pictures of each other wearing
Awesome
glasses
glasses.
that we found in shops.
Yeah.
And then we went to Europe and there was loads more.
Yeah. Europe's big on glasses.
Yeah, big on Euro glasses.
How was Europe, by the way?
which is
There you
what
go.
group
That's
it's called.
another one.
That's a segue.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, it was alright. It was kind of weird because it was me and Sam and the rest of the band were fill-in members because no one else could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it was cool. We really appreciate people helping us out. Obviously, it was a bit stop-start performance-wise, I suppose. It was alright. It was alright once we got into the groove of things. It would have been very cool to have James, Aiden, and Tom with us, but things happen.
Yeah.
Must.
Needs, yeah.
When the devil drives.
When the devil drives, he drives hard.
How do you? Yeah. Didn't you run out of money?
Oh yeah, kind of. We didn't get paid for any of the show. Basically, when we got pitched. You're going on tour with Hardside.
It's
You
gonna
won't
be
have to
great.
pay anything. You won't get anything from the shows, but you won't have to pay anything for van, for backline, for getting there, whatever else. All you'll have to sort. Well, actually, no, we have to pay. All you'll have to sort out is getting home from Frankfurt at the end of the tour, which that's fine. That's pretty blessed of a deal. First of all, we were going to fly back, but we had 2 guitar heads and a bass head, which are fucking heavy, and we had no idea how we were going to get on a plane, basically, without having to pay a shitload more, and they're really fragile. So we booked a coach back, which was 15 hours, and then when we joined up with the tour to get on, they were like, "Oh, you don't need those." So we were like, "Are you kidding?" So we could have just got a plane back, which would have been a 2-hour flight. Anyway, that is probably a quite.
I enjoyed the coach ride, man.
It was good.
It was 15 hours long.
The first 5 were bless, when we were all sat in a massive coach all with each other at the back, and then the guy just stopped and he said it was everyone off, and we got onto this other coach that was from the 90s and tiny and there were no free spaces and we were all split up and it was just a bit shit.
I thought everything from the 90s was cool now.
No, the early 2000s is
Oh, the
much
noughties.
superior.
Oh, what?
Yeah, God.
Go on, give me a little rundown.
Don't get him started on the OC.
Yeah,
That's
well,
where it's going.
we could finish this interview by talking about the OC for the rest of the time ever. But let's carry on.
Yeah.
Just let the 90s have their thing, and then it'll be the early 2000s.
We are the 90s thing.
We are. But
I was fed and clothed in the 90s.
further along the line, I was also fed and clothed in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah. I spiked my fringe up. Don't know
I
about
didn't.
you guys.
I did it once. I had like a sort of rhino horn because I was like very like I guess like hair frigid is is what I could call it because I don't really know. if there's a
I
name.
feel like I was the same actually. I
One
wore
day.
a hat a lot of the time, and then people would steal my hat, and I would cover my hair with my hands.
Like you're Jewish.
What?
I said don't mention religion at the beginning of this. I was like just steer away from that. I don't know. Yeah, because you got to cover your head in church. Well, yeah.
Synagogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, does someone else want this?
Go ahead. Should we do like a little swap around?
Yeah.
Change
I'll
places.
Focus and shit.
Don't know if you
So
want
any
that.
more? Have you recorded stuff?
How have we recorded?
How have you recorded it? You haven't done it on your own. You've gone to people.
Okay,
You
so
paid.
we've got this friend called Tom Richfield, super cool guy. He was one of the guys who actually filled in on
On
guitar
tour.
for us on tour. Yeah, and I mean he's from like the immediate friend group.
It's from
So-
Isolated.
He was in Isolated. He's now in a band called Hindsights, which are also really cool.
Fucking
So
great.
it's well worth checking them out. Completely different type of music, but disregard that. They're really cool. Yeah, and it's kind of the essence of hardcore that everything is done within your immediate group, and I mean that's why it's such a DIY scene.
Why do you think that is? Do you know?
Because we're all poor as shit.
Didn't people have jobs? Like, wasn't there like an established sort of community of actual workers in hardcore when there wasn't?
I think people are most enthusiastic about it when they're in their late teens. And
Right, yeah.
People aren't very good at jobs when they're in their late teens. I mean,
It's not as big of a thing enough for there to be many bands that kind of make it, I want to say.
Yeah.
So everyone that is doing it is kind of doing it on the side.
yeah,
Yeah.
for the love of.
Yeah, so that, and by that they don't have any like money being pumped in from anywhere else kind of thing, I'd say.
But that's still something that makes the scene what it is. That is part of the beauty. Hardcore is cool because it's obscure, and you'll walk down the street, and if you see someone wearing a band Terror hoodie, you'll be like, "Hang on, that's obscure."
Mm.
I was thinking about that today.
What's that?
Terror.
Yeah.
At the Pioneer once when Run played, and I was first getting into it.
When Run played.
Yeah, remember Run? I remember I knew who Your Demise were, and I saw someone wearing a Your Demise New Era cap, and the guy he was with was wearing a Terror t-shirt, and I went home and downloaded a Terror album.
Good.
Yeah.
That's advertising. So
Yeah.
is that why it works? Because you know there's something about like doing everything like we call it in house. We have these meetings and we're like, that's in house. We're printing in house. We're like going to someone we know to get this done in our own little thing. And everyone's promoting each other, talking about each other. That all works. And then you've got the whole like you're going to someone who has the capacity to help you do what you were thinking of doing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's one of the reasons why hardcore can stay so obscure, yet stay afloat. I mean, there's been times where I thought the scene has kind of dwindled. However, someone brings it back, and a band come up and they kind of bring it back in another way. They come back with another subgenre which people have forgotten about, and it's hardcore limits itself by the elitist attitudes as a standard. However, it keeps itself afloat by being like what we were talking about, by being self-sufficient. And that is the beauty of it, because it will always be something that's obscure, so it will always be cool. However, it will never be more than that, because of the struggles I feel that hardcore has, given the mentality that's set as a standard.
Yeah. Could you make a really clean, precise, what I don't mean algorithm, what I mean anecdote, which is going to tie all this together for people who have no idea?
Yes, yeah. I mean, from the perspective of someone who's been through it and is now in their mid-20s, I can look back and say, yeah, like it kind of gave me something more, kind of similar to Joseph Kendrick's theory of the Omega male. He's another guy who filled in for us on tour, and I mean, you have the idea of the alpha male. However, the Omega male kind of takes himself away from that, and because he cares so little about it, he is automatically beyond in other fields, if that makes sense. So I took myself out of what the running order was in my year at school, and completely, instead of trying to compete in that race, I kind of took a different direction, and I feel kind of made more progress as a human being. I mean, being in hardcore, I've been surrounded by theories of abstinence from certain things in life, and like veganism and straight edge and whatnot, and it's a completely different way of thinking, and I believe for the years I needed it, that made me the Omega male from my generation. And I don't know, that stuff still comes with its with its cons, as opposed to all the pros it brings to the mentality of a 18-year-old.
Yeah, sure. I think, for the first few times of knowing you, I was just really drunk, and I was like, oh shit, you can't be drunk, it's like, it's not cool here. It's sort of like weird, it's like, I don't know, being like drunk at a family event or something. You're like, I'm not drunk, what are you talking about? I'm just having a fun time.
No way, man. I mean, like, you do get people who kind of project that image. I mean, you have bands that kind of really, really put across that message. But again, it's all subjective. I mean, some people will tell you that straight edge means you can't drink caffeine. Straight edge means you can't have sex outside of relationships. I mean, the original message was, don't laugh, man. Fine. Means that, I don't know, like, just do whatever the fuck you want.
Isn't that Satanism?
Yeah.
Isn't that Satanism?
What?
Satanism. Do what thou wilt. First rule of Aleister Crowley's.
Yeah, I guess so. And all the other jokes.
Is that
commandments?
Because I always look at sort of, like we watched Gorgoroth on Vice, like that, and that was all Satanism. That's all like heavy metal Satanism. Like, is there any of that in hardcore, or not so much?
I mean, it comes in waves.
Is that like the subgenres again?
It's like hardcore's like right. Okay, I'm gonna analogy for you.
Nice.
Like imagine hardcore is like a train station.
Yes.
And every other like genre of alternative heavy music is like the trains.
Sure.
So you've got your stuff that's just there, but then there's so many subgenres and parts of it that come in and out, that different bands bring in and bring out, that mix every single kind of other alternative genre. If that makes any sense. Like, you'll get bands that are hardcore bands that have influences of black metal, probably.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
that as well. I think that's a thing.
The black metal.
Not necessarily black metal, but
yeah.
Like, I can't actually think. Oh no, because then you look at like kind of grindier bands. Grim Existence, great example.
Yeah.
They're a hardcore band that have lots of elements of like grindcore, and the vocals are fairly black metal-y. So like that's kind of a thing. Like, it's it's there and everyone will mix and add to it as they will.
Yeah, sure. Is it? So I was watching something on psychedelia the other day, and they were talking about it being, like this melting pot of like different age cultures, and like this is coming from kids who didn't necessarily have like, well, like the parents didn't really have like a sort of run of the mill like normal idyllic perfect childhood. There was like wars going on and all that stuff, and then these kids came along and they were allowed to be teenagers for the first time. They were having this childhood again, and they were sort of kicked back almost 100 years back to like all of these old stories and Lewis Carroll and all of that, and like they all had classical music and the new music that was coming over from America and the blues and stuff like that, and then that all came together to create like psychedelia, and it was like this British sound that hadn't really happened before, and it was like patriotic and special, and only really lasted 5 to 6 years, but like it was like this amazing sort of blip in the charts that was like, wait a minute, like, we're playing folk next to whatever Pink Floyd is.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that hardcore a British thing, or is it? Where did it start?
No,
It's,
well,
it
it's
begin?
such
New
an
York,
American thing.
isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, everyone in England's trying to do something that's American, and everyone in Europe is trying to do something that's either British or American. And like the further away you get from America, the further behind the times they become. So,
In terms of hardcore.
yeah.
It's very much a fad kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like things come, one particular subgenre will come up and be really popular for a while, and then it'll drop off again and something else will come in.
Is it like, so? It's sort of its own top UK top 40. Like that same thing of it like being a fad. I guess in the top 40 it sounded the same for like 20 years, but they do have like these crazy fads of like Diplo just sampling Justin Bieber's voice to make that weird dolphin noise, and that's like, oh, now everyone has to do that for like 6 months, and then we'll find
noise.
it is a good dolphin noise.
It's
Don't
probably
get
one
me
of the
wrong.
best you're going to come across.
Yeah, well, unless have you ever heard Oaken Donkey and the dolphin?
No, I haven't.
No, good, because I made it up. Oaken Donkey and the Dolphin. That's your new album. There you go. If you've got, I've got some lyrics in my bag. I actually have some questions in my bag, but
crack them up.
I like this sort of. When I say questions, I think it's literally about 2, and I think I might have even asked them. I could just start reading poems. This isn't my poem one. Ode to the slice of cheese that I left upon the couch. What have we got? It's just pictures.
Was that a
stuff
dot to
about
dot that you made
screen
yourself?
presses. What that?
No.
Oh no, that other one. It's nice.
Come on, let's see.
Do you want to see a picture of my my tonsil?
Yes.
This is from inside my throat, looking out of my mouth.
Okay.
From memory.
From memory. Yeah, right. That kind of
From
looks
sonar.
It kind of looks like a pelican
It's weird, isn't it?
and a nut.
I made that up.
Good.
It pranks me out.
Reminds me of spaghetti and meatballs.
Rude. Okay. But thank you for your feedback. It's weird because so let's talk about feedback. I don't often get feedback from art.
Right.
And you have to push yourself quite far. You have to put yourself on the internet. You have to have shows.
Yeah, sure.
You have to like go around and literally shove your pictures in people's faces to get feedback on art.
Right.
But with music, it's like pretty different. Like you'll go and stand in front of a group of people and you'll give them your music, and then they'll be like automatically like yes or no, and you can tell that within seconds.
Yeah.
How's that working? Is that
It's
in
a system
hardcore?
that works.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's a
Thank you. I guess. Well.
Shots are down, mate.
Okay, so hardcore is pretty geared towards live performance and the way in which the crowd gets involved. I mean, I don't want to talk about moshing. I feel really cringy talking about moshing, but it's an essential part of hardcore.
Sure.
It's probably one of the things that
That's what it is.
not so much that, but I remember what I'm trying to say is the first time I saw a hardcore band, I saw Your Demise play halfway up a Enter Shikari bill, and obviously all the other bands, people were push moshing, and I mean, brief description of push moshing is you just run into each other and, I don't know,
Push each other.
to push each other.
To the limit.
And it's kind of like uncoordinated, and it's a mess, and it's just full of drunk people having fun because they're drunk and they don't really know what they're doing, but that's perfect because that's what it is. And then Your Demise started, and people started running from side to side and just moshing in a completely different way. And I mean, it was way more coordinated. It was dancing as opposed to running into people.
Right.
Even though you like swinging your arms and like doing spin kicks and whatnot, there are certain moves that you do for different parts of different songs because and the songs dictate what you do. And that's kind of something that like to an untrained eye you wouldn't understand first off. I mean, it just looks like people having a fight, whereas they're not. I mean, quite often people don't hit anyone because you kind of try to do it in your own space. You know, this feels like that Richard and Judy interview. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that there's a difference between the two, and when people
Look at
find
this one.
hardcore,
Weird.
this is what sets it aside. This is what sets it aside for, even though it sounds like heavy music, any other heavy music, to the untrained ear. This is what people notice first off. And yeah, I don't know. That was what drew me towards it. It seemed a bit more organised, a bit more serious, and like they'd really thought about it. And the next week I went to another Your Demise show. They were playing with a touring band called CDC from America. They were pretty cool at the time. They were also playing with BWP, Last Witness, and no, that was it. Your Demise, CDC, Last Witness, and BWP. And I went there, and I was like, wow, like this is completely different to any other show I've ever been to, and everyone seems to know everyone, and you kind of really get that like family vibe that people in hardcore go on about all the time. And I guess like the more you're involved, the more you hear people complain that actually like that's a load of shit. And
Is that useful?
but everyone does know everyone because it's such an obscure scene. It's so much smaller than everything else. Everyone does know everyone. I mean, we could go to a show in name somewhere up north. In Newcastle, Leeds. We could go to a show in Leeds and Sheffield. We could go to a show in Sheffield, and we would see people we know from Brighton, people from Kent. We'd see people we know from like Manchester, Liverpool, obviously Sheffield because that's where they live. And I don't know, like it's kind of tough to think of any other genre or name any other genre that you'll be able to do that in. People are pretty dedicated. I mean, I know it's such a cliche, but hardcore is a way of life, and people drop everything else that they do in order to kind of live hardcore. I did it. I dropped all my friends because they were just into different stuff than me, and I wanted to go to shows, and I wanted to do all these things and travel and see all these bands, start a band. I wanted to start a band. I wanted to not drink anymore, and it just wasn't relevant within my friend group, so I kind of dropped them and made new friends in hardcore. And it's what everyone does, and like however much of a cool thing that was, and how many new opportunities that brought to the table for me, I really felt like in the later years, or around the present, I kind of realised how much I isolated myself and how many other life experiences I've kind of missed out on by being this kind of pious and judgmental hardcore kid who had been, I don't know, brainwashed kind of into believing that hardcore was the end all, and if you weren't doing it properly, then what are you doing, kind of thing.
That's like a cult. You sound like you're talking about leading a cult.
I feel like
That's
it's
great,
very
though.
very similar.
To build a cult is something. It's quite a feat.
Yeah. But I don't know, like you can meet a hardcore kid from anywhere in the world, and you can kind of guess what their political standpoint is. You can kind of guess what their views on, I don't know, animal rights. That I don't know how to kind of.
Just a very liberal scene.
Yeah. I mean, there's kind of like a standard set. Otherwise, you'll get ousted. And like, however much I agree with the liberalism, I feel like people are kind of forced into it, and that's not the way it should happen. I mean, someone said to me once that there's like a spectrum that comes with this kind of thing, and the more left wing you become, that you kind of do a full circle and start to become a little right wing, where you're like, if you don't think these things, then fuck you.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't think this, like, if you're not a feminist, then fuck you. Which, like, obviously I agree with all these political standpoints, but
Extremism.
Extremism
That
is
shoots yourself
not
in the foot.
my bag, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just talking here. Sam,
Yeah.
you say some stuff.
Should we do Taylor Swift now?
Oh, mate.
Is it that time?
No, we're not
well-
talking about Taylor Swift.
Lana Del Rey, however.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on then. Really? It's your time, you
Well,
know.
man. I'll
Like
talk
this
about
is, I think, like, you know. So I saw that. You know, I've known you what, 2 years? I've known other Sam like my whole life.
Like 5, yeah.
Yeah, he was the first kid I knew to get tattoos. He had
Nice.
a little like orange dinosaur tattoo when we were about how old? Were we? About 4 or 5,
Yeah.
maybe. And I was like, "Did your mum know you have that?" Because that's like insane. Like he was one of the coolest first kids. I was like, "Wow, little orange dinosaur." That's actually a memory. You know, it's weird when you like you look at photographs and you're like, "Oh, that's my mind. That's my memories."
That
It's
happened.
like, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I've known you what, like 2 years, and I sort of saw a bit of that side.
Okay.
But it's the more I talked to Sam about hardcore, and I don't think I ever went to hardcore shows because it was like, yeah, you could come, but you'd have to like do stuff and dance, and like I didn't really, you know, I've spent like about 2 years ago I wasn't leaving the house sort of thing, like you know, just, you know.
I feel like I've known you longer than that.
Probably
Yeah,
has
you probably
been.
actually
Yeah,
have. That's
yeah.
kind of
I mean,
crazy.
I
2
started
years
hanging
ago.
out with Wolfie in like 2010. We started Deadweight in 2010.
Yeah, well, I've known you that long,
Yeah, yeah.
and you had longer hair back then.
When did When did you come to sixth form at Chancellors?
2010 maybe, yeah. No, I don't know.
2009.
2009 maybe.
Maybe a 10.
I have yeah no.
End of 9. So that's probably when we started hanging out again.
Anyway, sorry. And over this
but
time.
yeah, so over this time, the more I've seen that you guys actually like listen to completely different music, do completely different things, like enjoy ice cream and walks in the park.
Yeah.
And it's like there's that stigma around like anyone who listens to anything with a sort of strong guitar, strong bass thing going on. It's like, oh, these kids are like gonna do massacres. They're angry, horrible people.
Yeah.
You know, you watch documentaries. And people are like, no, that's not why these kids were fucked up. They were just fucked up kids.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I really feel as if
Talk about like lemon cake.
like I went through a period where I felt that you didn't really like music unless you found one genre that was the best, technically the best, and all round the best, and
sure, yeah.
you would only listen to this genre. And I really wanted to become like a pure hardcore kid where I would literally just listen to hardcore and live the values of hardcore, and like, so I felt like I was above everyone because I'd found this thing that was so good, and it covered all bases. It was such an all round, like as I said, it was a way of life, and it got to the point where I was like, wow, I don't really enjoy this as much as I used to.
That's crazy, because you know what's weird, right?
Go on.
You talk about that, and I'm like, well, I know people who say those exact things, and they say them about drugs. And you're talking about something which is like quite sort of strongly against taking drugs. And I'm like, this is like, you know, like maybe it's just that part of your life. You have to find something to concentrate on and be like, this is the most important thing right now.
However,
you know.
yeah, I mean, the thing that I've kind of got from that was you need contrast in everything to appreciate exactly what you're looking at. And I find like there was a point where I was bored of all the new bands that were coming out, and I didn't appreciate anything, and I would listen to all the old bands, and then I got bored of the old bands because I was listening to them so much, and there was just nothing new that I liked. And that's when I started listening to other music again. Like, I kind of...
You have to at a point, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go straight in with listening to, like, drum and bass or anything. I do, like, metalcore bands and, like, slightly lighter bands. And that gave me the good contrast I needed in order to appreciate hardcore again when I listened to it.
Yeah.
Because instead of listening to the riffs specifically, just the sound of hardcore, no matter what they were playing, you'd be like, that's a hardcore band, and I'm feeling pumped for it again. And then I've kind of grasped this, and I've really taken it, and I've thought, right, I need to find other things that I really enjoy. And maybe I've taken it further than other people I know. But the more you listen to like lighter stuff or music with a completely different structure, like electronic music, you'll go back to hardcore and enjoy it 10 times more because of the contrast. I mean, again, this is just something personal view. What I've experienced. I mean, I can talk about what I've experienced for days.
But yeah, go on.
I've got a tangible.
Oh yeah, this is not a segue. You understand that?
Yeah. Let's write that down right now. All right. Hardcore completely changes how you listen to everything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, for example, once you've listened to hardcore and know what you're listening to, know what you're listening out for, what different parts there are, you will find those parts in other kinds of music. For example, the two-step in the... have a coffee, please.
Dan Moss is here. Dan, come on, do your cameo.
Hello.
Is that still filming?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
You can pick up and move it if you want.
Do they have a mouse?
Yeah, mine's under here.
There's one. There's...
No,
No.
great guy.
I don't know where mine went.
Do an analogy. I like your
What
last
was I
one.
talking about?
You were talking about the two-step in Dark Paradise by Lana Del Rey.
It's like that. Like
I put my
you wouldn't
C3
think
patch,
of.
didn't I? Did you?
You wouldn't. Obviously, she's probably not got any hardcore influences. She might have. Someone in our writing team might have hardcore influences who thought, that needs a two-step. But that kind of thing is really cool. Like, you can listen to, like, for example, things like if you start listening to thrash or whatever, you'll get like, oh, that bit could be in a hardcore scene and a hardcore band, and I enjoy it because of that kind of thing. I think that's really cool. As for listening to other musics and coming back to hardcore and appreciating it more, I kind of see it as more of a mood thing. Like, if I understand what you mean when you say it gets a bit stale after a while, but I don't know if I would say that I listen to other stuff and then come back to it and enjoy it more.
No?
Maybe if I don't listen to a certain thing for a long time and then come back to it, I enjoy it more than I would if I was listening to it the entire time.
Yeah.
But I think I'm closer to listening to things when the mood strikes. I think. Like, hardcore is definitely something that you have to be in the mood to listen to. It's very engaging, and it's not the kind of thing that you can really have on in the background.
Yeah,
When you go to
I've
sleep.
always said that. I've always said that hardcore is a music that you study,
Yeah.
similar to metal.
Yeah, you listen to it. You've got to listen
Whereas,
to
like, electronic music, chart music, it's like soundtrack music. Hardcore isn't soundtrack music. It's music that you put on
Doing
and
music,
and you listen to the music. You don't just have it on in the background like Sam just said. And
Is that because does it follow like a normal structure of music, or like like a
It's not-
song structure?
Most of it isn't like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Some of it is.
backtrack to that.
Backtrack to do that. Bigger bands do that. It's that whole thing, isn't it? It's written for a live setting.
Yeah.
So all the parts are written specifically for a certain thing to happen.
Sure.
Like when we wrote our first EP, it was fast bit, slow bit, mosh bit.
Thank me later. Yeah.
That's kind of all like what we thought was necessary. So what you put in, and that's it. I think it's a lot of it is made for the live setting, and that's something
It's
you don't really
immersive.
get with a lot of other genres.
It's not necessarily like soundtrack music. It's music built for a live reaction, and I think you've got to approach it with an open mind. People will kind of write it off because it's popular, and along with a lot of other things, like again, that's another thing in hardcore. People will purposely not listen to a hype band because they are a hype band.
Yeah.
And
We've all been there.
I don't know. There's
You just got to like stuff before it's cool.
people who will not listen to a band because the new kids in hardcore are listening to this band.
Yeah.
And that for me is what kind of got me with hardcore. Like I just didn't want to have that frame of mind anymore.
That's quite taxing.
God, this interview is just changed to me dissing hardcore.
Yeah, good job, man.
Thanks.
Good job there.
Oh yeah, listen to a hardcore band.
Yeah, we're not a hype band, so
yeah, there you go.
no one likes us.
We're
so
quite
we're cool.
We're quite obscure, so listen to us, buy our merch. People will be like, "Whoa, I kind of know that band. They're obscure."